Hey there, fellow artists and designers. Thanks for coming aboard today. This is our series on animating environmental effects. This is episode 4. Today we're animating sparks. Just to refresh your memory on the premise behind this series is we're taking the animation tutorials in animated GIF form from Miniboss, link to that blog in the description, and we are using them to learn about animating different types of environmental effects. Okay, so looking at the tutorial GIFs, a couple of things stand out right away. One is that it's really fast, so I don't think animating on 2s is going to be the way to go this time. Also, we have these frames in between that flicker where there's no information at all, so that's going to be important to put in. And this is great. We have a 12-13 frame animation and it's all pretty well laid out, so it's just a matter of following along. This time around I didn't start with a sketched background. I wanted something that felt a little bit more mechanical, like panels on a spaceship or in a scientist's lab. So I just actually played around with the rectangle tool and used different shades from the palette, and then I duplicated the layer once I had it filled in and made a multiply layer with it, and then another one with a color dodge. And then I created just something that looked like a ray gun or a Tesla coil or something along those lines, and colored it in with the same colors from the palette. And then I went and did a kind of a squash and stretch for the firing of the whatever this is, whatever the electrical coil. It's a little bit of a cartoony effect, but I like it, and it definitely goes along with my style. So I then duplicated that layer and erased the keyframes and moved the twin coil over to the other side and flipped it. And then this time I'll show you a little bit more slowly the process of putting in the squash and stretch on the firing. It's a loop that I have set right now at 72. I think later on I'm going to bring it way down. So the main thing is to remember to move that anchor point when you're using the transform tool so that it's squashing and stretching from that back point there. And remember that if you squash in one direction, you have to stretch in the other so that the object maintains its mass. Okay, so first we have this anticipation on the squash where it pulls back. Okay, just like squatting down before a jump, same thing on these little ray coils. And then I realized that it's going to finally settle into the same position as it had when it started. So I copied that keyframe over and then put in an overshoot as a stretch frame. So it goes farther and then it recoils. Okay, it's what we call an overshoot. And then that's what that part looks like. Okay, now this is sped up at 200%, so you're not actually really seeing it at speed, but it does look pretty good, and it's nice and snappy. I won't speed up this footage right now, and also this is a section that I have to animate on ones. If you go back to the GIF tutorial, it's very clear that the lightning is very fast. And animating on 2s just feels really too sluggish. So you can kind of see the frame progression. I chose a yellow color. The beginning part, this is where the sparks emerge. That first frame was the contrast frame, and then comes the big spark, and then this one has to be the white color, and then there's the frame of nothing, so we get that flicker effect. Okay, again, notice we're animating on 1s, not animating on 2s here. And then this is where the arc starts to break apart. And then I added like this little internal shine thing. So it looked kind of scientific and it was fun. So I just included in there. There's another one of those frames that where nothing happens, And then I thought that little kind of recoil down the ray tube would continue all the way through until the end. And so I'm reducing the total number of frames down to 36, so we get a nice loop going down. I really like that extra bit down there. Just felt fun to add. Okay, now it's time to add some polish. If we're going to have that intense of a light, we're going to need to have that light exist on other places, on that background wall, and also on the ray machinery, the little Tesla coil itself. So I'm going to put in some opacity keyframes on another layer. Okay, duplicating the both the layers for the two ray coils as well as the background wall, and then just really lighting everything up really brightly for just those 2 or 3 frames right there in the middle. Okay, so you see that there's it just goes almost white on the machinery for that single frame there, where the arc itself goes white, and the whole room basically gets lit up. And then I also put an adjustment layer in front of the walls, just to kind of darken the back part. And so I didn't have to do that for every single layer. I just made an adjustment layer and kicked the opacity down. And then at the top I put in just a little vignette, just a little kind of elliptical darkened outline, and I gave that a blend mode of multiply, so it's just kind of so that the edges just had a little bit of a sense of looking in on a scene. And that's it. That is my response to the spark exercise. I want to wish you good luck with yours.